Okay, let's unpack this. I want you to imagine a mathematical equation, but not, the kind you learned in high school calculus, and definitely not the kind that makes any logical sense.
Oh, I like where this is going.
I want you to imagine an equation that was, like, designed by a chaotic universe just to test the absolute limits of coincidence.
The kind of equation that, if you tried to solve it, would just spit out the word impossible.
Exactly. Or like a picture of a laughing god, because that's what we're dealing with today. On one side of this equation of absurdity, you have a teenage boy in Montevideo, Uruguay in 1996.
Okay.
He's sitting in front of a dial-up modem listening to that screeching connection sound, and he's obsessively coding a fan page on GeoCities.
GeoCities. Wow, that is a deep cut. We're talking sparkling GIFs and under-construction banners.
The whole 9 yards. So that's one side. On the other side of the equal sign, 30 years later, you have one of the most famous women of the 1990s, a literal sex symbol watched by over 1 billion people. And in the year 2026, she's not on a beach in a red swimsuit. She's fighting for her life against cancer.
And somehow these two people, 30 years and 2 continents apart,
they collide.
Yeah.
They collide. And the variable connecting them is a hacker with the email address gulpersacker@hotmail.com.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
Gulpersacker.
I am not. And a $5 billion legal button. And a pair of handcuffs that didn't fit. And my personal favorite, a police report that's spelled Gmail as Gamail.
Gamail.
.com.
Okay, what's fascinating here is that if you pitch this as a movie script, it would get rejected immediately.
Instantly.
The studio executives would say, this is too unrealistic. You can't have the kid who founded the fan club be the exact same guy who saves her life 30 years later after getting out of a third world prison. It's just too neat.
Too on the nose. But the sources we have in front of us, and we're talking court documents, leaked emails, actual WhatsApp screenshots, and detailed cybersecurity reports, they prove that this is the Hollywood script that reality actually wrote.
It's unbelievable.
So today we are on a mission to unpack what I'm calling the Baywatch paradox. We aren't just talking about a hacked Facebook account. That's the surface level.
Right, that happens every day.
We are analyzing a collision of, 90s celebrity culture, police incompetence that borders on slapstick comedy, heartbreaking medical diaries, and high-stakes international cybersecurity.
And it's a story that really highlights the fragility of our digital lives.
Right.
We think our memories are safe.
Yeah.
Right, because they're on a server owned by a $1 trillion company.
We outsource our memories to the cloud.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this deep dive proves that sometimes the only thing standing between your most precious memories and just total deletion is a quote-unquote bad boy hacker with a grudge against the system.
So for the learner out there who wants to see how the butterfly effect works when the butterfly is a 14-year-old in Uruguay and the hurricane hits Hollywood 3 decades later, well, buckle up. This gets wild.
So where do we start? I think we have to start with the cast of characters. To understand the stakes, we have to understand the players.
Yes.
Because the contrast between them is what makes this equation of absurdity so potent.
Right. First up, let's talk about the icon, Nicole Eggert. Now, if you were alive in the 90s, you know the name, you can picture her. She was Summer Quinn on Baywatch.
But I think we need to contextualize just how big Baywatch was. It wasn't just a TV show. It was a cultural monolith.
Oh, it's everywhere.
The sources indicate it was watched by 1.1 billion people.
1.1 billion.
In 142 countries. It broke into the Chinese market, which was, completely unheard of at the time. Statistically, it was the most watched television show on Earth.
That's a staggering number. I can't even comprehend 1.1 billion people watching the same thing. And Nicole was right there in the center of it all. She was one of the faces of the entire decade.
But the reality behind that looking at the sources, it was grim is the only word for it.
It sounds awful. She was effectively a human prop.
But that's a quote from one of the analyses, and it's so fitting. We found a reference to her contract clause, and it's frankly horrifying by modern standards.
The weight clause.
The weight clause. She was required to stay within 5 pounds of her target weight of 105 pounds.
105 pounds? That's insane.
And this is a woman who had been in the industry since she was 5 years old. She wasn't new to this. Miss Universe Petite, Johnson's baby shampoo commercials, Charles in Charge.
She was a veteran actress.
A total veteran. But on Baywatch, the industry just reduced her to a physical aesthetic. A mannequin in a red swimsuit.
So fast forward to 2026. This is the Nicole we're dealing with now. She's hosting a podcast. She's completely removed from that babe persona of the 90s, but she's facing a much, much harder battle.
She has stage 2 breast cancer.
And this is where the Facebook element of the story shifts from, trivial.
Yeah, from oh no vacation photos.
Exactly. It becomes critical. For a lot of people, Facebook is just a place to see memes or argue with your uncle about politics. For Nicole Eggert in 2026, her Facebook page had become a cancer diary.
It wasn't about fame anymore. It was a chronicle. Medical updates, emotional milestones, the messages of support from her community. It was a vital medical and emotional record.
It's proof of her fight. So losing access to that isn't just an inconvenience, it's a profound psychological blow. It's like erasing the evidence of your own survival.
Precisely. Now let's flip the coin. Let's look at the other player in this equation. The anti-hero, if you will.
Or the digital knight.
Alberto Daniel Hill.
The Mr. Robot of Uruguay.
That comparison comes up a lot in the source material, and it fits. Alberto is a fascinating psychological profile. He's the first hacker ever sent to prison in Uruguay.
And that's a title he seems to wear with a very complicated sort of pride.
Oh, for sure. The sources say he looks a bit like Robert De Niro, which, doesn't hurt.
Right.
But the stats on this guy are mind-blowing. One of the documents, it's called a desirability profile, which is a wild thing to find in a source stack.
Oh, what? A desirability profile.
Yeah, it's an analysis of his social pull. And it notes that while an average person might have a, modest dating history, Alberto has a rock star status in Montevideo. We're talking 250-plus partners.
250.
The analysis compares him to a control subject with about 15 partners, and it attributes the huge difference purely to the bad boy hacker allure, the fame and the perceived danger.
That is incredible. But beyond that, what about his mind?
High IQ, over 130, and this compulsive curiosity. He describes hacking not as a crime, but as a fundamental need to understand the source code of the world around him, to see how things work.
But the key to understanding Alberto and why he's the one who steps in to save Nicole is this phrase that pops up in the psychological analysis, his identity inversion.
Yes, that's critical. It refers to his legal trauma. He started as a protector, what we'd call a white hat hacker, someone doing responsible disclosure to fix security flaws for companies.
He's doing the right thing.
He was trying to help.
Mm.
But the legal system in his country inverted his identity. It cast him as a predator, as a criminal.
So they threw him in prison.
With killers and sex offenders. And that experience completely radicalized him. He now sees himself as a digital knight, someone who has to operate outside the system because he knows from personal experience that the system is broken.
And that brings us right to the crisis. Section 1, the loop of doom. It's February 2026.
Right. So the breach itself is almost insulting in its simplicity. It's not some state-sponsored actor. It's a script kiddie.
Yeah.
A low-level hacker.
Using the handle gulpersacker at hotmail.com.
Gulpersacker. I mean, even the name sounds like a bad prank. It sounds like a teenager in a basement who just learned how to download a hacking tool.
And that's likely what it was. But the consequences were severe. The hacker didn't just lock her out. They started renaming her business pages, removing other admins, and then they started threatening to delete the content.
They held the cancer diary hostage.
That's the leverage. And this is where we hit the core of the Baywatch paradox. You have Nicole Eggert, a woman whose face is known by 1 billion people. She tries to contact Facebook or Meta, a $1 trillion AI company, to get her account back. And what happens?
She enters the loop of doom.
Explain that. What is the loop of doom?
It's a systemic failure of automated support. She tells Meta her account is hacked. Meta's automated system says, okay, we understand. We will send a recovery code.
Seems reasonable so far.
And then it sends the code to the hacker's email.
No, it sends it to gulpersacker at hotmail.com.
Precisely. The system's only point of contact for the account is now the criminal's email address.
The irony is just. It's palpable. You have $1 billion AI algorithm that cannot distinguish between the real Nicole Eggert, who is probably holding up her passport to the webcam.
Right, doing the selfie video, all of it.
And a random hacker with a Hotmail address from 2002. The architecture is built for frictionless sharing, as the report says, but it becomes dangerously devoid of friction when destruction is the goal.
It's a system with no emergency brake.
I want to read from this Nicole Eggert's Facebook takeover analysis document here. It actually visualizes this loop. It says, Step 1, account hacked. Step 2, user requests recovery code. Step 3, automated message says, we sent a code to GOLP.
To gulp or sacker.
Right. Step 4, the system asks, is this your email? Nicole clicks NO. Step 5, the system says, please log in to update your email.
But she can't log in because she's hacked.
Exactly. It's a perfect closed loop of despair. She was screaming into the void, and the void was politely sending verification codes to the guy who was systematically destroying her life.
This is the state of modern digital identity. If you fall off the algorithmic path, there is no human hand to catch you.
Unless,
of course, you happen to have a connection that completely defies probability.
Which takes us to the flashback. Section 2, we have to go back 30 years. The year is 1996.
The era of dial-up internet, Netscape Navigator, and as you said, GeoCities.
Oh, GeoCities. The under construction GIFs, the little animated email icons, the MIDI background music that you couldn't turn off.
It was the Wild West of the web. And in this digital Wild West, a teenage Alberto Daniel Hill is buying his first computer, a Sinclair Spectrum.
A Sinclair Spectrum. He's learning assembler language. He's a proper nerd.
But he's also a teenage boy.
Yeah.
And, like millions of others, he is completely infatuated with Baywatch.
But he doesn't just put up a poster in his room. He decides to build a shrine in the new digital world.
He creates a fan site on GeoCities, dedicated entirely to Nicole Eggert. And this wasn't just some scrappy little page with a few pictures. We have an email.
I love that we have the receipts for this.
We do. It's from October 9th, 1997. The sender is a TJ Marchetti, the Director of Content and Community at GeoCities.
The director of GeoCities? What does the email say?
It says, Dear Lucky Luke, that was Alberto's handle, while reviewing our request logs, I noticed that you frequently are one of our top 10 most trafficked homesteads.
Top 10, not top 10%. Top 10 homesteads out of millions.
He was driving serious traffic in 1997. That means thousands of people on screechy dial-up modems were visiting his tribute to Nicole Eggert.
He was a teenage influencer before that was even a word.
Enough that GeoCities wanted to use his page to test a revolutionary new annoyance.
The pop-up ad.
The pop-up ad. They offered him a reward to test it. They offered him a GeoCities black nylon computer carrying case.
A nylon computer case. The Bitcoin of 1997.
It's so charmingly naive, right? That we're just figuring out how to monetize the web. And they chose Alberto, the Nicole Eggert superfan, to test pop-ups. But here is the probability anchor.
Okay.
This isn't just a random hacker helping a random celebrity in 2026. This is a man who, 30 years prior, spent his adolescence building a digital monument to this specific woman. The emotional connection was already paved in HTML 1.0.
It really is the equation of absurdity. The odds of this specific hacker, the one who ran the top 10 fan site, being the one person on Earth with the skills and the motivation to save her 30 years later. They're astronomical.
But before he could save her, he had to go through his own hell.
Right. We need to talk about Alberto's origin story. This is crucial. Section 3, the login to hell.
And this is where the story shifts from a kind of teen comedy to a legal thriller, and then, honestly, to a complete farce.
It's the funny, sad part of the outline, and it really is both. So Alberto is a grown man now. It's 2017. He's a professional cybersecurity expert. He finds a major flaw in a medical provider's system.
Patient records are exposed, a serious breach.
He does what any ethical hacker or white hat is supposed to do. He performs responsible disclosure. He contacts the provider privately and says, hey, you have a huge problem here. This is how you fix it.
He's trying to prevent a disaster.
And instead of a thank you or maybe an updated nylon computer case, what does he get?
He gets raided by Interpol.
This police raid, I mean, looking at the source material, this document called Operation Bitcoin's Login to Hell, it reads like the script of the Pink Panther if Inspector Clouseau was investigating cybercrime.
It is a comedy of errors, but with very, very real consequences for him. Let's start with the Gmail incident because it's just perfect.
It sets the tone for the whole operation.
The police report, which is the official document submitted to a judge to get a warrant to raid this man's house, listed the email provider involved in their investigation.
Okay.
They didn't write Gmail. They wrote at gmail.com.
Gmail, like G-A-M-A-I-L.
Yes. It suggests such a profound, almost beautiful technological illiteracy on the part of the investigators. They were sending subpoenas to a typo, a non-existent company.
That's the foundation of their entire case. A typo.
But it gets worse. When they finally arrest him, they try to handcuff him.
Yeah.
The handcuffs fell off in the car.
No.
They couldn't even physically secure the suspect, let alone digitally. And then there's the evidence seizure. This is my favorite part.
Okay, get this.
They go to his house. They leave behind hard drives and stacks of CDs. You know, the actual places where digital evidence would be stored.
The things they are there to find, they leave them.
They leave them, but they don't leave empty-handed. They seize what the report calls his strategic cash reserves.
Strategic cash reserves. That sounds like he's a Bond villain.
It does. In reality, it was 1,460 US dollars and about 3,000 Uruguayan pesos.
3,000 pesos, that's like, what, 80 bucks?
Lunch money, basically. So they seized about $1,500 total. But in the press release, and we have the picture, it's figure 39 in the source, they spread this small amount of money across a massive table to make it look like a huge cartel seizure.
It's pure theater.
Yep.
And the Bitcoin coins, I can't get over the coins. The source document has this picture, figure 7, everything perfect for the picture, and it shows these 2 gold-plated coins in evidence bags.
The official police report actually implies they seized Bitcoins, physical
Well,
Bitcoins.
for anyone listening who doesn't know, crypto Bitcoins are digital. They do not exist in the physical world. Those coins you see online are just souvenirs. They are metal discs. They're toys.
They are toys. But the Uruguayan police displayed them proudly, as if they had seized the physical manifestation of the blockchain. It would be like arresting a cloud computing expert and seizing an actual fluffy white cloud from the sky as evidence.
It's so fundamentally ignorant, it's almost impressive.
It shows that the people enforcing the law had zero, and I mean zero, understanding of the crime they were supposedly investigating.
They're framing him as a cyber mastermind, but they're leaving the hard drives and seizing the novelty trinkets.
But for Alberto, it wasn't a joke. This is where that identity inversion really happens. He is thrown into prison. A place for, and this is from his account, sexual offenders, killers, drug dealers.
And he's an engineer, a guy with a self-professed violence rate of 0.001%, and he's suddenly living in a cage with violent felons.
And there's this subplot in the documents that I found just incredible, the Javier story.
Ah, yes. Javier, the banker inmate.
Right. So Alberto is in prison for hacking, which he didn't do maliciously, and a banker who is also in prison tries to hire him.
To hack a bank?
From inside the prison, Javier wanted Alberto to hack a bank to facilitate some sort of transfer or theft.
So he's surrounded.
He's completely stuck. He writes, "If I did what Javier asked me to do, I lose, and if I did not, I was also going to lose." He was terrified. He's stuck between the actual criminals who want to exploit his skills and the incompetent police who punished him for using those same skills ethically.
And the kicker, the punchline to this awful joke.
The bank got hacked anyway. Sometime later, it was breached by someone else entirely.
So you can just imagine him sitting in his cell, hearing the news that the bank was hacked, and just thinking, oh, great, they're going to blame me for this too, even though I'm locked up.
It's like the universe is conspiring to frame him. Or, and this is more likely, it just suggests that cybersecurity vulnerabilities are so rampant that if you wait long enough, everything gets hacked eventually.
Which brings us full circle back to Nicole Eggert.
But we can't move on without mentioning the hospital scene. It's so telling. He gets sick in prison. He has to go to the emergency room while in custody.
And how do they treat him?
He is guarded by 3 officers. 3. As if he's a cartel boss or an international terrorist. He describes this heartbreaking moment of his mother kissing him goodbye while these guards are looming over him. It was a moment of total dehumanization.
This whole experience, it sounds like it broke him, but it also, in a weird way, it made him. It prepared him for what was coming.
It completely radicalized his understanding of justice. He realized that the quote-unquote good guys, the police, the corporations, were often incompetent and dangerous. He saw that Gmail typo and realized, these people have no idea what they're doing.
So that's the mindset he brings to the table. He's cynical, he's experienced, and he doesn't trust the system. And then he hears about Nicole Eggert's hack in 2026.
So let's get to the rescue. Section 4, the rescue operation, or as the outline calls it, the Eggert pincer.
I love that name. So Alberto sees the news, Gulper Sacker has the account, and he knows the pain of losing your digital life because the police confiscated his memories, his photos of his ex-girlfriend, his emails, everything.
He sees Nicole going through the same thing, and he decides to act.
But there's a problem. He's a hacker in Uruguay. She's a celebrity in the U.S. He can't just DM her on Facebook. Her account is hacked.
This is where he uses his skills, the SAMI link. He uses open source intelligence OSINT, basically public information gathering. He digs through her connections, her friend lists, looking for a weak point.
And he finds Samantha Sammy Duncan, who is a close relative or friend of Nicole's, living in England.
And he specifically targets her because of the less than 300 friends constraint.
What's that?
It's a key OSINT principle. If you message a celebrity with 500,000 followers, your message is just noise. It's lost in the spam folder forever. But if you find someone in their inner circle with only, say, 250 friends,
He'll actually see the message.
you'll see it. You're talking to a real person, not a brand.
Yeah.
So he finds Sammy, and he sends a WhatsApp message. And we have the transcript.
And it is a masterpiece of desperation mixed with fandom. It's so human. He says, "I love you, Samantha," with 3 exclamation points.
And he spells Samantha with 2 M's. Sammantha.
That is such a risky move. If I got that message, it would scream scammer or stalker to me.
It is so high risk. But I think it screams authenticity. Scammers usually use polished scripts. They're polite. They're robotic. Alberto sounded like a frantic human being who was genuinely freaking out. He writes, "Please, everyone, report this profile as hacked. Can you tell your Relati to contact me?"
Relati. R-E-L-A-T-I-E-E. Another typo.
It shows his adrenaline is pumping. He's typing fast. He is panicking for it. This isn't a professional consultant engaging a client. This is a fan trying to save his idol.
And incredibly, it worked. Sammy replies, "I'll message her now."
That was the key. That was the trust bridge. Without Sammy, Alberto is just another random voice on the internet. With Sammy, he's a vetted ally.
So he gets in touch with Nicole. Now, most people, when they think of a hacker rescue, they picture someone typing furiously, green code falling down the screen.
The whole I'm in movie trope.
Right. But that's not what Alberto does. He knows that hacking back, attacking Meta, or trying to out-hack Gulpersacker is illegal and probably ineffective.
Instead, he uses a weapon that is far more powerful than any line of code.
Bureaucracy.
He weaponizes bureaucracy. He pulls out what the documents call the $5 billion button.
Okay, so the $5 billion button is GDPR Article 33. Let's unpack that for the listener who isn't a privacy lawyer in the EU. Why is this a weapon?
So GDPR is the General Data Protection Regulation in Europe. It is legendarily strict. And Article 33 specifically dictates how companies must handle personal data breaches. If a company like Meta fails to protect user data or fails to resolve a breach adequately for a person under its jurisdiction, the fines are catastrophic.
And how catastrophic are we talking?
We're talking up to 4% of their global annual turnover. For a company the size of Meta, that is billions of dollars, with a B.
So Alberto's strategy is to tell Nicole to stop asking the customer service department for help and start threatening the legal department's bottom line.
That is it in a nutshell. He has this key insight. Meta's European headquarters are in Dublin, Ireland. This makes them subject to what he calls the Irish Claw, the Irish Data Protection Commission, or DPC.
But wait, Nicole is American. Does that even apply?
It's a bit of a legal gray area, but that's what makes it so brilliant. He leverages the international nature of the data and the location of their headquarters. He guides Nicole, step by step, to send a very specific, legally worded threat. He basically tells her, do not file a support ticket. File a regulatory risk notification.
It's genius. He turns a customer service problem into a shareholder value problem. He elevates it from the help desk to the boardroom.
And we have the math on this from the recovery probability analysis source. An automated recovery attempt, like the one she's stuck in. About a 25% success rate. Escalation by, say, an attorney general in the U.S. It can work, but it takes weeks or months.
And she didn't have weeks. The hacker was deleting things.
Exactly. But social validation, which is what they call Alberto's method of leveraging the DPC threat, has a 75% success rate, and it works fast.
And he actually predicted how it would play out, right? He predicted an invisible fix.
Yes. He told her, he said, you won't get an email saying we're sorry. You won't get an explanation. You will just wake up one morning and it will work again. He predicted a 60-70% chance of Meta just quietly capitulating to avoid triggering a formal investigation by the Irish DPC.
And that's exactly what happened.
That is exactly what happened. No fanfare, no apology, just click. The loop of doom was broken. The account was restored.
The cancer diary was saved.
The Gulpersackers locked out. The memories were safe.
It's just amazing. It wasn't a hack. It was a squeeze.
A bureaucratic squeeze. He played Meta's multi-billion-dollar legal apparatus like a cheap piano.
So let's move to the analysis. Section 5, the unbelievable analysis. We need to connect all these dots because the more I talk about it, the more insane it sounds.
We have to go back to the odds calculation. Let's just lay out the variables again. Variable A. A boy in Uruguay buys Sinclair Spectrum and becomes obsessed with a specific Baywatch actress in 1996.
Okay, unlikely, but possible.
Variable B. That same boy grows up to become a top cybersecurity expert and the victim of a high-profile judicial error that teaches him exactly how to fight broken systems from the outside.
The odds are getting longer.
Variable C. The specific Baywatch actress he was a fan of gets cancer 30 years later and decides to use Facebook, of all platforms, as her personal medical diary.
Okay, now it's getting weird.
And variable D, a random script kiddie named Gulpersacker chooses her specific account to hack out of billions of accounts.
If any one of those variables is different, the diary is gone.
It's gone. Think about it. If Alberto isn't arrested in 2017, he might still be a white hat who trusts the system. He might have told Nicole, just keep trying the support form, they'll get back to you eventually.
But because he went to prison, because he saw the incompetence of the good guys with their gay-mail subpoenas, he knew that the only way to win was to play hardball.
He had the motivation. He was a fan since 1996. He had the skill. He was a world-class hacker. And he had the fearlessness. He'd already survived the Uruguayan prison system. What's a threatening letter to Meta after that?
It's nothing. He was uniquely qualified, the only person on Earth who could have done this.
And he had the specific, niche knowledge of GDPR from his cybersecurity work. It was the absolute perfect storm of variables converging on one person at one point in time.
And there's also this anonymous element that's kind of hovering in the background of the sources. They mention things like Up Georgia and Op Doge.
It's speculative, but the sources do discuss his potential connections to anonymous operations. And there's this great irony noted in the analysis. Alberto uses his voice in public forums like Twitter Spaces and other audio chats, but he leaves almost no text trail.
He learned his lesson from the Gmail incident.
He absolutely learned his lesson. The police incompetence taught him operational security. The police wrote down Gmail and used it against him, so now Alberto leaves no text for them to misinterpret or twist. He operates as a ghost in text, but a very loud voice in audio.
That's a direct adaptation to his trauma. He evolved.
He became a ghost in the machine, which makes his very public defense of Nicole even more interesting. He stepped out of the shadows for her. He used his real name. He used his real email.
Why? Why break cover for a Baywatch star?
The probability anchor.
The 1996 connection.
It has to be. He wasn't saving a random celebrity. He was saving Summer Quinn. He was saving the subject of his teenage admiration.
Yeah.
It's personal.
And maybe it was a way to overwrite his own trauma. He couldn't save himself from the Uruguayan police. They took his digital life, his memories.
But he could save her from Meta, a redemption arc. He couldn't be the digital knight for himself back then, but he could be it for her now.
So what does this all mean? Let's try to wrap this unbelievable story up with the outro.
I mean, we've journeyed from a GeoCities fan page in 1996, built on a dial-up modem, to a high-stakes international cybersecurity rescue in 2026.
It's a story about a relationship that evolved from a one-sided adolescent crush into a trusted agent dynamic 30 years later.
And we're basing all of this on a wild mix of court documents, private WhatsApp screenshots, and official police press releases. It just paints a picture of reality that is, quite frankly, stranger and more compelling than any work of fiction.
And I think the provocative thought for you, the listener, is this. We trust our digital memories, our photos, our conversations, our entire lives to these massive platforms. We think they're fortresses.
But this story shows they're actually paper tigers.
A billion-dollar algorithm was completely defeated by a teenager with a script, Gulpersacker. And that algorithm was only corrected by a reformed hacker from Uruguay who knew which specific legal button to press.
So if a Baywatch star, someone with a massive public profile, needs this 1 in a billion specific Uruguayan hacker to save her medical records from an AI giant, what chance does the average user have?
Yeah. What chance do you have?
Very, very little.
Yeah.
It suggests that in the digital age, your safety doesn't depend on the system. It depends on having a friend who knows how to break the system.
I can't stop thinking about that final image in the source material. The hacker crown box.
Ah, figure 43. The trunk gift from Eduardo? It's a wooden box, hand-painted.
It was hacker in big letters, and there's a crown painted above it. And the year 1975.
It was a gift from a fellow inmate. Even in prison, surrounded by killers and sex offenders, Alberto found community. He found people who saw him not as the criminal the state claimed he was, but as a king of his own domain.
And he kept it. It's a totem. It's a reminder of where he's been and who he really is. He isn't the criminal the police painted with their doctored press photos. He's the hacker king who survived the login to hell.
And now he's the guy who saved Summer Quinn.
It symbolizes the entire story. Sometimes the so-called bad guys, the prisoners, the hackers, the outcasts, are the only ones equipped to save you from the apathy or incompetence of the so-called good guys, the corporations and the police.
It's a powerful reminder. The digital knight doesn't wear shining armor. He wears a hoodie, he has a criminal record, and he might just have a black nylon computer case from 1997 tucked away somewhere in his closet.
So to you, the listener, if you ever get hacked, don't just click forgot password 100 times. Maybe, I don't know, look up the top GeoCities fan sites from 1996. You never know who might be running them now.
And read GDPR Article 33. Seriously, it might just save your digital life.
This has been a deep dive into the Baywatch paradox. Thanks for swimming with us. Stay curious and maybe go update your password.
And enable two-factor authentication, please. For the love of God.
We'll see you next time.